Bureau to address the Kennedale City Council regarding an agenda item. Thank you. Is that better? No, maybe? You guys all hear me? All right. To address the Kennedale City Council regarding an agenda item, submit a request to speak form before the meeting begins. Speakers are allotted 3 minutes and must limit their comments to the subject indicated on the form and should address the Kennedale City Council as a whole rather than individual members or staff. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, the Kennedale City Council reserves the right to adjourn to executive closed session at any time during the meeting to seek legal advice from the city attorney on any item posted on the agenda. Madam Secretary, may we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Michaels.
Here.
Place 1 Glover.
Here.
Place 4 Gary. Place 5 Navarez.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And with our steering committee, we don't need to establish a quorum. However, would you all please state your name for the record? Start with you, Mr. Brown.
Larry Bolden.
Selma Kovic.
Keith Courtney.
Kimberly Courtney.
Chance Long.
Stephen Cook.
Joseph Taylor.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to do our invocation and pledges of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags. Councilman Navarez, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Absolutely. Pray with me. Father God, we just ask that you bless this committee, Lord, and ask that you bless this city and show us the way through, Lord, that we can get all these taxes under control and get a vibrant community for all Kennedalians. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge to the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I got the record on the pledges.
Thank you, guys. At this time, we're going to turn to our visitor and citizen forum. This time, any person may address the city council and the steering committee about items not on the agenda. Neither formal action nor discussion may occur at this time. Those wishing instead to speak on an agenda item should indicate their desire to speak as the boards consider that item. Do we have anybody that has requested? No. Anybody in the audience? So at this time, going once, going twice.
So,
All right, at this time, we're going to move to our workshop, and I'm going to turn it over to Nathan to get us started.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome. I'm so excited because you've all been working for months since last September to get to this point. Still got more work to do. So previously, we sent out the draft of the comprehensive plan. We sent it out a couple of times. I understand we had some drawback issues. If anyone needs a copy of it, please let me know. It is in the packet that we posted for the agenda. So if you've got your smartphone out, you can pull it up on the city website. It's available there. We're joined again by Stephen Cook and Chancellor McLaughlin Dunaway, and we're going to go over the feedback, or we want to hear the feedback that you have on the plan so far, any corrections, revisions, things of that nature. We're here to take that information, tweak it again before we go to P&Z and then eventually council. So thank you again for being here. We want to again keep it kind of informal, keep the conversation focused on the future of Kennedale, right? That's why you guys have been selected here to help us chart that path forward for everybody, right? If anytime you need to take a break, feel free to do so. Has everybody tried the pickles?
They're lovely, thank you.
Okay.
Did you make them yourself?
No, those are my favorite brand, and they're amazing. And I just wanted to make sure everyone tried them. I probably shouldn't talk about it. It's not on the agenda.
You're a true Texan, for sure.
did you acquire these pickles locally?
I did. Yeah, I did. right within the town center, or they're not, well, let's just.
I'm fixing a point of order again.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let's stick to the topic at hand, right? Enough about the business, right? But, thanks again, Stephen, for being here, and Chance as well, and I'll turn it over.
All right. You know, I think the slides that I have tonight are basically the information that we have provided in the plan. I know that our last full meeting was with our open house, and we had a lot of input on the future land use plan. We had some changes to the transportation plan and some update to the Parks and Rec open space plan. A lot of you have given us some fantastic feedback on the process that we've gone through and going through at the very beginning, going through the vision and to the different elements and those goals and objectives and strategies. The final part of this was putting all those together with some linking text and putting it into context that is specific to Kennedale. We wanted to make sure that the plan before you is not kind of a generic plan for just suburb city Texas. We wanted to make sure that it was speaking with Kennedale's voice with the data that we were able to generate and to provide and get. And so that's why we're here tonight, is having given several weeks of opportunity for you to kind of look at and peruse the plan and to get your feedback on it and be able to take that feedback. If you have a page number of something that you want us to kind of relook at and double check, and I know that we've already found a couple of typos in it. That's the editing process that we want to make sure that we get multiple eyes on this document before we get it approved. That document has the correct typos all corrected, and it's just one of those things. As writing any book, you need to make sure that you get those things correct, as well as making sure we are in the right direction. The biggest thing I want you also to remember is, as we've gone through this process, is that a comprehensive plan is a guide. It is kind of a snapshot of what the demographics were at a certain point. It is a snapshot of what the ideas were that we've heard from the citizens through the survey, that we heard through citizens from our open house, that we heard from people in talking with staff, talking with you individually, talking with you guys as a group. And I think this is something that hopefully reflects that. And with that, let's open it up. And who would like to kind of give us some feedback on the plan?
I'll start one here. Page 49, the entertainment district on Bowman Springs. You know, it is a desire of our citizens to have sit-down restaurants. Could we include that on page 49 for the entertainment district for our gateway into the city?
Absolutely. So right now, the guiding policies is to encourage a mix of commercial, residential, and recreational uses. We can absolutely add restaurants as part of that.
Make sure it says like restaurants/breweries as well. I would want to encourage that as well.
Okay. All right.
That's actually a lot of requests for breweries for some reason in Kennedale.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. We were just talking about this before we started.
Okay.
I want to go ahead and speak about that.
All right.
On the south side, we have large lot development on the majority of the south side. My concern with that is that I don't see a single large lot development in the greater DFW area unless you go outside the area. And that's usually because it's conducive to their Texas Homes plan. For example, they buy cheap acreage and then they build large lot homes. Our acreage is not cheap anymore, so you won't see companies like Texas Homes putting large lot homes in the south side, especially next to railroad tracks, especially next to a racetrack. I'm wanting to see if we can open it up just to let the market decide. If we can just put R1 through R4 the way our UDC stands now and just let the market decide what should go out there. I think that'll get the government out of the way of private citizens' property, and allow some development to go in the area, and then allow the future, whoever's in council 5 years from now, when they go review this again, they can adjust from whatever that growth is producing.
So what I'm hearing from you, sir, is that we're looking at our future land use plan, the map, which is in the plan itself is page number 61.
Yeah.
And so when we look at areas south of, say, where the raceway is, south of the area, we do have, adjacent to where the raceway was, the drag strip was, is that we've got some areas there where we have labeled it as residential medium density. And medium density is anywhere between 4 and 9 units to the acre. And then we look at everything south of that, with the exception of the kind of the commercial node just to the east of there. Everything south of that is predominantly shown as lower density residential, which is what we see as less than 4 units to the acre. So at least 12,000 square foot lots. So that's fairly low with state style. And what I'm hearing from you, Councilman, is that we would like to maybe indicate more of that area as medium density residential.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with 4 per acre. I know we changed the laws before I got on council, and I'm fine with that. I just don't want to restrict it only to 1 house per acre, because I just don't see any development anywhere in DFW that's conducive to that. Nobody's doing that unless you leave the area into rural areas, and those quick areas are quickly being developed like that. The same thing happened here in Kennedale. When we were very rural, Texas Homes come in, they do big lot, big homes, like my HOA area, like the vineyards and things like that, but you just won't see that anymore once the property value goes up. So our acreage used to be 30 to 50K. It's roughly 90 to 125K now. And Texas Homes, they just won't buy acreage that way because they won't make any money. Because they would have to turn around and sell a home for 1.5 million instead of 1.1 million or 1 million or 800 or whatever it is. So if we could just open it up, and if somebody wants to build large lot there, I don't want to stop them. But I don't want the citizens that I know out there that want to sell, they don't want to be restricted either to finding a developer that's going to try to do R1s. It's just not possible.
So in that regard, if we make that modification to the map, that does open up the ability for you as a council, that if somebody comes in with a plan to rezone an area, you have it in the plan that says, okay, we want to rezone this to something that has a higher density than kind of estate style lots. And then it would be in agreement with the plan if we make that change. If they come in with higher density lots and we keep the map as it stands today, you can still make that change, yes, but it wouldn't be in agreement with the plan. The plan, the map itself, the future land use map, is a guide to development. But I think what the councilman's point is that we want to get it right the first time. And in your opinion, sir, is to have the ability to have more rooftops in this area, well designed. We're not saying we're going to just build tract housing, because we still have a development code that helps make sure that we have good and appropriate design, that we have adequate services, that we have adequate infrastructure. All of those things are part of this, so that we're not just dilly-dallying it in there and just saying, okay, we'll just put in whatever's available. The intent here is that the long-range idea of having more rooftops in this area is that more rooftops will then also help the market make decisions to add more commercial development, which is what one of the goals of this plan is.
Yeah.
Jeff, are we talking about changing all the light yellow medium?
Yeah, I am. I would like, that's my compromise with it all, is just let the market decide, and that's how it should be. Let the private property owners and developers get together and come up with a game plan. Now, it's not like we're gonna get like a 20 million apartments complex in the next 5 years, but in 5 years from now, what development we do get, then whoever is in charge can adjust. Well, we got too much high density, so around this, let's allow more high density, but over here, we'll just lower the density. We can adjust to what's being produced, but there's nothing out there. And so until there's something, there's no catalyst out there. Once we get one development up there, whatever it is, whether it's R1 or R4, it's just going to explode right around it. And that's kind of my prediction. What I want to do, what I want to prevent, is I'm trying to look 10 years from now. I want to stop what happened to us on the Arlington border. So if we had a strong border, if we had annexed back in 2005, all Walmart all the way up like we were offered that we denied, we wouldn't be shopping Kroger, paying all our money to Arlington in taxes. And so Arlington quickly has been nipping on our heels, and so everybody on the north side of this freeway doesn't come to Kennedale and shop, and everybody knows that. So if we develop the south side, they're either gonna come to our central location right here, or this little red dot that's over there by the racetrack, the future commercial lot, that can be developed into a commercial area for a convenience store or a grocery store, because what I'm thinking is gonna happen is the greater area outside the south side, Mansfield, once they fill out, they're gonna move that way. Fort Worth, there's already 2 20-acre lots that just sold out there right on our edge for a couple $1 million each, so that's gonna be developed. So if we can beat everybody in that corner to that corner, we can develop a commercial area in that corner or an entertainment district and get the taxes.
Does our infrastructure support that?
There is, and in this particular area, there is infrastructure availability in that. In the master thoroughfare plan, there is new collectors and minor arterials that have been indicated in that area to help with the growth of that area. The area that is needing more infrastructure, water and wastewater, is to the north and west of this particular area, and that's the area that is served predominantly by Arlington's original systems. And those are the areas that the city is currently working towards trying to find new capital to help Arlington build more stuff for that west side.
So as it stands right now, would that prevent any, what Councilman Navarro just said? Somebody wants to come in here, down there, and I know it doesn't align necessarily to this proposed plan, but if it's more of a medium density neighborhood as it stands now, that wouldn't prevent that from happening.
No, sir. No, sir. And again, this map was developed over the past year, and we did hear a lot that we wanted to see more estate-style lots in Kennedale. The direction has been that we don't want to be a highly dense urban community, that the urban villages have not been implemented from the last plan and through the UDC correctly, and we've gotten bad apartment complexes that have not been designed well and do not play well with others. And part of that is but we didn't want to go to the far of the direction of saying we're not going to have any of that kind of development, but we want to make sure that there is still that sense of a suburban environment, that Kennedale thrives on that suburban environment, that integration between suburban and the rural nature that South Tarrant County has. However, knowing that it is a suburban environment, you had multiple developers coming forward with much smaller lots and higher density development. And I think what the councilman is kind of looking at is we don't want to turn away development just because it's not large lot development. Sure. We can have appropriately sized, appropriately developed subdivisions that contribute to the tax base, that contribute to disposable income, that contribute to all the things that we like having residents here contributing to. But I think there is adequate infrastructure planned with this document to adequately serve that. Now, we can do modifications to this plan easily. We will make, if we go forward with this, we can change areas of this into medium density. That will change some of our numbers with acreages to different land uses. It'll also change our numbers as to what we look at as to some of the holding capacity of the city.
Here's my biggest concern. Like, we could leave it, somebody can go before council and do, let's say condos or apartment complexes. And it's not conducive to our future land plans, so it's not recommended to P and Z, it's not recommended to council, even if it passes P and Z. To me, that's more red tape, the same red tape you talk about, the bureaucracy on the front end. And if you talk to developers, and I have been for over a decade now, and just recently 2 weeks ago, the difficulty is when they do look at the future land use, which is a great thing for a city to have, is they'll see, okay, well, it's just gonna be a fight on the south side, so forget buying that property. They won't even entertain it. The ones that will entertain are the developers that we might not want to come here. So they're brand new developers, or, you know, they do like low quality kind of housing. They're brave enough to do it because they don't have banking behind them. They have maybe investors behind it or their own kind of investments behind it. And that's the kind of apartments or houses or stuff that are just kind of look shady or fall apart. They just don't have the quality of bricks and stuff. If you want a big 20 of the United States, if you want a big 10 from Texas of developers, we just got to show them that we're willing to do business. And so if we open it up from R1 to R4, it doesn't restrict R1, doesn't restrict R4. And this will show the big 20 or the big 10 when they look at our maps to developer areas that, you know, we're willing to do business. And then just work the process out of that. But this restricts it, I think. And it's just, if you look around DFW, you show me one R2 development. I won't even go R1. Let's just say R2. Inside the circle of DFW, I would like to know where that is. I haven't found one. All these developments on the outside where acreage is cheap. Our acreage is not cheap. So if we want to develop and we want to have a catalyst for business development, we have to have just a few more rooftops. So right at 10 grand. We can just get past that hump officially on paper. I think you would find a little bit more businesses likely to come. And that south side is where we should be growing our next business development, because 20 years from now, I think our south corner is going to be busy anyway.
So when we're fully built out, what do we estimate our population size to be?
Well, we've got a couple of parts of that. So one of the things that we've looked at is a holding capacity within the current city limits of vacant and agriculturally kind of used land. Right now, Kennedale's pretty built out. And so when we look at areas inside the city limits, we didn't do a holding capacity outside, because your holding capacity is based on your current zoning. And so your current zoning would allow for another 730 housing units. These are areas that are outside of your floodplain. These are areas that are within vacant properties. And so that translates basically from right now, we saw from the census is 2.76 persons per housing unit. So that translates to another 2,000 persons, 2016 for 730 units. The population projections we've taken from the Texas Water Development Board. There is still the opportunity for Kennedale in their ETJ to work with property owners to create development agreements and get voluntarily annexed into the city. Right now, that within, say, the next 20 years, 25 years is a population of about 16,000. So that's at 2050 is about 16.6.
So
16.6 additional or 16.6 total?
16.6 total.
So I guess my question then would be, if somebody's not gonna come here at 10,000, why would they come here at 16,000? A business. Is that extra 6,000 population really gonna make that big of a difference?
Well, and the thing is that some of the decision making is looking at the housing growth, looking at creating economic development friendly areas. This plan looks at transit-oriented development at I-20 and 287 just to the west of that, so that there's opportunity for higher density housing there. There is looking at the entertainment district and that is along Bowman Springs as it comes into the community, looking at those areas, because then those are your catalyst areas, and looking at what kinds of things can be done operationally from the city to change zoning, to provide 380 agreements, to provide other kinds of economic incentives, plus the population increase, so that it is it's policy and demographics that are going to help this community bring forth better commercial development.
So the short answer is yes, right? It just depends on what you're trying to produce. If you're a big restaurant, let's say, or a bar, you can look at the demographics, you can look at the density of other bars in the area, how many people walk in and on the streets on Friday nights, and then you make the decision from right there. Same with grocery stores, right? If we have 9,000 versus 15, you won't get a smaller bar. Like there's a new HEB, smaller farm to market kind of grocery store, which is perfectly ideal for our community in the future. They would look at, oh, 9,000 is not enough, but 15 is enough to be sustainable for what they do. And they'll look at the outside area, what's future possibilities. And that's just kind of when anybody that does development that has money or is a big company that does it, they look at those demographics. They look at how many people drive down that freeway, how many people are spending money at night, and they can get all this, through Google or the cell towers and consensus information. So yes, they do look, and there is a big difference between 10 and 15. Even in the state of Texas, 15 is a higher marker as a city than it is a township of 10.
Okay, if I could add, just two things to that, to this conversation about infrastructure and economic development. Talk about infrastructure on the south end of town, west end of town. We've got two major lines, right? We've got New Hope Road, and you've got Dick Price. As development comes down New Hope Road, our infrastructure stops at a certain point. So by allowing development in our future land use plan, if we're calling for certain types of development within that southern part, our developer is going to be looking at that and saying, okay, they're okay with us building that type of product there. And in our world, particularly public works, they would pick up the dime to extend city infrastructure to improve their properties. So that's the term that we use in our world, is to improve. So you're going to bring that water line, you're going to bring that sewer line to your property, but also through it, so that the next person on the other end can tie into that. And that's how we improve city infrastructure at a lower cost, because it's developer form, right? That's down New Hope. When we go down Dick Price, our infrastructure stops at Linda Road, essentially, our water line. I've talked to people that want to purchase large acreage off of Wilson. This is the area that's in our M2J, so it's not in our city limits. And their conversation is, can we annex it? At that point, we're talking about increasing the elbow room of the city limit lines. At that point, right now, unfortunately, they don't have the infrastructure to support it. So right now, because everything stops at Linda, the city's either going to have to extend the water line or allow a development to go in that would, at their cost, bring that development down. So that's my response as far as on the infrastructure. Can we support it? Right now, we're actually working on improving the infrastructure down New Hope. And we'll talk about the old drag strip. So that sewer line is being increased. The capacity is being increased to support what we foresee coming already. And it's going to increase capacity down the road. The last thing we want to do is put a sewer line in that it also can support 100 homes. So they've increased it to an extent to where it's going to take us down 20, 30 years down the road. On Linda, on Big Price, that's a whole nother conversation. So how that's going to shape out is probably a conversation for another time, another group of people, but at least in the future land use plan, we can establish, hey, what y'all would like to see on that part of town. So that's the conversation on infrastructure. When it comes to economic development, what we've done actually this last week, we were able to pull some data with a particular group. It was referred to as a retail leakage report, right? So it showed, we drew a geofence around a particular area of town on the east side of town. So this is east of the Parkway. Where do those people shop? Right? Where do they go? Residents. You can delineate between residents and visitors, right? And this is all information that's coming from the data. That report showed the top 10 people, or the top 10 restaurants, fast food restaurants, Subway was on the list, Chicken Express was on the list, but it wasn't the one. So everybody there on the east side of town, and I imagine if I take a geofence and I take that eastern part of town, everyone is going east. They're going into Arlington. There wasn't a single outlet, whether it was retail, fast food, dine-in, sit down, on that report that showed Kennedown within that top 10, right? So developing the west and south part of town, we want to bring businesses into the center of town along the parkway to support that. What that data shows us is that that's kind of key to bringing business in here, is to allowing for certain types of development. So the conversation tonight is what type of development is appropriate. Right? And I think the community's spoken, we're continuing this conversation here. But when we want to have businesses come into town, the western part of town, the southern part of town is a important factor that has to be included in this particular future land use plan, because when you have staff looking at that plan and you have the zoning changes that come before council, is it consistent with that plan? You may see something that sounds great. The Joe B's, right? The Joe B's, which is that brand of HEB that's a smaller, and they're putting one in South Dallas. That's a food district, right? HEBs, they're pretty strategic, right, on where they put their spots. Costco's the same way, and they pick certain areas, on where they're going to build. HEB picked Mansfield. I got one over there not too far from me, Hudson Oaks. Right outside of that, though, is a high density multifamily apartment complex. We go to church in North Fort Worth, so we go to the Costco there, right? They just put a HEB in Alliance. I couldn't even get in the parking lot. But it wasn't the residential's been out there for a long time, but that higher density, the medium density, was part of that conversation, and they're looking at those things. So, again, what's appropriate? If there's specific types of businesses that you would like to see, there's other things that come part of that equation that I think would be worth the conversation just having. So, that's just my 2 cents.
Nathan, I have a question. A few minutes ago, you said something about that if a developer goes and they cover the cost of getting that infrastructure 2 and 3. What percentage? And is that always, or how?
Well, it varies. So a lot of times
Give me an average.
yeah. So it could be 50-50. If the development is coming in, there's provisions in our UDC that says at what point will the city participate in gaining that infrastructure, and it puts a limit on it. But let's say a developer wants to come in and they want to interconnect some sort of development they would get with the EDC, they would get with the city manager to kind of partner with them on that. That's where you get that public-private partnerships. Right? I spent the weekend over there out at Granbury on 161. You got the fire department there, you got the Epic Center, and you got all that retail and everything that's kind of up in there. Well, I was in a class in a finance class with their economic development director, who was the city attorney. They put all these things in place 10, 15 years ago. And they were visioning what we want to see on this part of town. I hope it's before 161 was even there. So this is the exercise that we're doing here. What do you want to see off of it? Where do you want to see off of it? What do you want to see off the parkway? And what can you allow or put in place on this future land use plan to see that come to pass? But as far as the percentage goes, I really couldn't give you a
Okay,
strict
so
number.
let me frame the question a different way. Historically for Kennedale, what has the percentage been? What has the city picked up in comparison to what has a developer picked up?
All the developers or development that I've worked with here in the last year and a half or so, all been 100% developer. They're paying for the infrastructure themselves.
That's the last year and a half.
But historically, like I don't know if I don't believe the city participated in Magnolia Hills. That was the last development to come through. Same thing with Vineyards, Brookstone, those types of things. So I couldn't speak to that part of it, but the development that we've got on the works right now, it's 100% driven by the development.
So-
As far as them paying for the infrastructure.
Carolyn, sorry, I didn't, what did you say?
Generally speaking, if a new development comes in, the internal concept of that development, the developer will put that in at 100%.
There's also a tool that if, we look at, say it's a skip and a jump type of development. It's kind of outpacing where the current infrastructure is, and they need to build a fairly significant line out to their property in order to service it, then one of the tools the city can use is that they can prorate that line so that as new development between where it exists today and where it's being built to, those new developers then pay in a prorate to access that line. And so then that line may cost so much money up the front, but then it gets paid back as new development accesses that line.
So the flip side of that too is if the city were to extend water and sewer to certain parts of town that are adjacent to the ETJ, and when those folks go in there and they want to develop the ETJ, caveat is, okay, if you want our water and sewer, you've got to annex it to the city, right? And so that expands the services as well, part of it. So there's a variety of different tools at your disposal that you can utilize to support appropriate.
And so we tried this once before where we developed the water and sewer in hopes that the developer would come. That's the Blossom, what's it called, Blossom what?
Bloxham Park.
Yeah, and that, everybody knows how that went. So that was the failure if we went and did up front. But doing things like doing the sewer infrastructure that we're already planning on doing, that's encouraging the development area. But if we do it, there's the risk that nobody will show up. We would hope, and if they really want it bad enough, and usually they do, they'll pay for it up to our street or whatever it is, wherever they
And
put it.
that's why I was asking the questions, because, you know, it sounds wonderful, but then if we start looking at having to pay for it ourselves, then, okay, suddenly we're stuck with a
An
problem.
area like Blossom. That's why I want to bring that up. When we tried this before, I guess it was
I think,
2009 or something.
And I'm thinking Bloxham's was the only one that the city actually
Yeah.
built.
Yeah.
And all the other ones have been a developer.
Yeah.
From 1987 with Hillside, Shady Creek, all that was built by G.W. Robbins. And the sewer and water was all put in by him.
Any other points on the?
I got one point on it too. The land use on the, I guess, the northwest side of our city, we have it industrial. Or is it industrial? Is it-
Green or purple?
Yeah.
Industrial, yeah, dark purple's industrial.
Yeah, wouldn't that be better off at some type of special retail or something for future?
So we're talking about
Yeah,
this
yeah.
for the existing industrial area that's already
Yeah.
out there?
Eventually, they're gonna outgrow their area, and if we put a hotel and everything around that, that'll be a perfect future mall kind of place.
A
So
mall,
I
street shopping
agree.
center,
They would sell that. in
Home
heartbeat.
Depot, Lowe's.
So I, just as a caveat, they're not building malls anymore.
I mean, like a shopping center.
A
yes.
shopping center.
So they,
Blockbuster.
yeah.
I mean,
There's one left,
So,
come on.
But I mean, I think that when you look at that property being close to the interstate and you look at most businesses, you know, that come in, you know, like I want to say On the Border or whatever, they look at tiers, but they also have deals in their contract that they have to be off an interstate. So we're looking at prime property that to where we can bring in restaurants or something like that in the future, once they outgrow that area.
Especially after the highway's finished.
Yeah, 5 years up to the highway.
Okay. So does everybody see where we're talking about?
Ken, what section are you talking about, Ken, please?
That purple up north.
It's the purple on the northeast side. It's gonna be
Yeah.
Forward Tower or Sabre. I mean, eventually they're gonna outgrow that.
They're gonna outgrow it, and it'll be worth millions
Yeah.
of property potentially in the future, especially if we put the hotel over there. And we get a train stop, and with all the new, 2-lane roads coming off the freeways there, that's potential to all that.
I think it's prime real estate for restaurants. You know, people exiting off the interstate, getting on the interstate, people just traveling down 20, you know, want to stop and get something to eat, bam, we're gonna have it there in the future.
Well, I think that what happened with our group, and I could be speaking out of turn, but that's not unusual, was that we had kind of looked at what is in place that seems pretty established. I mean, for now, Fort Worth Towers, pretty established. And industry like that tends to attract other industry. I think that was kind of the mindset of our conversations when we were.
It definitely was. We were thinking about down 287, where all the
where the other industrial is.
Yeah, and we turned that into commercial, but up there, we thought, and one of the guys that was on it, same pier, he has a business up there, so he was, yeah, he was really pushing it. So I think that's where that was coming from, but if you did change it, and right now it's industrial, I mean, how do you do, I mean, can you do that? I mean, right now it is not.
Yeah, I mean, this is the
We're just saying
future,
the
future.
But there
So
are
if
In the
that were to
future.
sell
There are also commercial spots in that
all around
area.
it,
Yeah, so, I mean, at this point in time, what, again, just like when we were talking about with the density in the other area, at this point in time, what does it hurt to leave what's there and leave the kind of use there?
Okay, I look at it is do you want industrial at the gateway of your city?
Again, I think one of the things we discussed was that.
I mean, I know it's established now, but this is the future. We're looking at the future, not,
With the new construction, we also talked about developing that entrance through Bowman Springs and making it that entertainment and restaurant district, kind of pulling it so that we were pulling people into the middle of the city.
So everything from Forest Hill on the frontage roads that they're making right now, all the way past Kroger is gonna be future fast food and offices, like as I think as a small town, we kind of want to direct a lot of that over there, a lot of that high density, high volume, restaurants and things like that coming off the freeway over there. And we're already talking to Forest Hill as well to see if we can make a seamless seam on our borders. So if somebody crosses underneath the bridge, you don't know you're in Forest Hill. So what we're hoping is they'll develop on their side as well, and it'll kind of look very similar to what we're doing.
I think to add to that point, is it keeping it the same versus call for that in the future, call for that in the future, set that vision, it allows that current owner to shop around and to find a buyer, and actually makes it more valuable for them versus how it is now. And the zoning is always gonna be, until they decide to change the zoning, or if the city decides to go in there and city-wise, rezone the whole city or something, that's a different conversation, but their property rights are vested, they're set until they decide to change it, but if the future land use plan, changes, then they can say, hey, because what I'm hearing is that they're running out of room, so they're already kind of looking for some more acreage, but who can they sell to? There's buyers at that particular level within their industry, and then there's those that put in the Buc-ee's or the Cabela's, or those types that they know they're going to pay a lot more for, and it's prime real estate is what it is. And so it allows that current owner to shop around.
And also just understand, if you make Bowman Springs your entry into the city, you have to understand over 90% of that land is ours. It's not developed. So when you're moving south, as you're going into Kennedale Parkway, only land Kennedale has is to the right or to the west. And for the most part, that land's not going to be developed because you're on a hill, where you have floodplain. You have other criteria that's going to dictate that. So ultimately, you're going to have 1 acre wide that's going to be a commercial component. I don't, just me, I don't think we need to change the concept of an entry point. 287 business is a highway. Highway, it's not a secondary street. Bowman Springs is a secondary street. It's not a highway. So there's a little bit of difference, whichever way you go. It's the idea that you only have 10% of a road, and Bowman Springs is not Kennedale. Bowman Springs, until you get down to the new stop sign, that's where it becomes Kennedale. That nature reserve part is ours. So everything you see to the east of that, including the road, is ours. So when you put an exit, main bridge off of 20 over Bowman Springs.
yes.
Yes.
And there's gonna be a traffic
Finally.
light put up there and a bypass to go underneath the bridge.
There's gonna be one way back here on 287.
Yeah, if I remember right, there's gonna be an exit from 820 to get to Bowman Springs.
well, Nathan, if we leave it industrial and the guy wants to sell the place, wouldn't he shop everything, and knowing that a city like us would change anyway if they had a Blockbuster wanting to be there on that corner? As you
It
suggested.
could happen.
I mean, isn't that what they've been going still with the drag strip that's selling for roads?
But it's gonna require a rezone, right?
But-
It's gonna require a rezone.
It'd be a little bit of work, but I think they would, I just imagine.
And nobody's talking about changing what it is today in the foreseeable future. It's a mess. 20, 30 years out, what it wants to do.
But I do agree with Kenny that if we made that, not taking all the industrial away, but made a nice little red strip there saying, hey, people, we want some commercial stuff right here, I don't think that's a bad plan.
Restaurant Road would be beautiful out there.
Beautiful.
I mean,
Gosh, I have to apologize for being late. One thing I think that part of this discussion was, and you brought it up, about it's a secondary road. Yeah, and so I think what it was, instead of Little Road, go to Bowman Springs as a secondary road. I don't think anybody argued that there was a nice entry to town at 287. I think it was more about let's don't enter Kennedale and make that the big place to enter at Little Road, because we can't manage the trucks and the traffic there now. Can't get around it. Am I wrong, somebody? I think that was one of our conversations.
For me, I'm just looking 10 years, 20 years from now. What we're doing over there in that corner currently as a city is going to fruit into a big commercial area anyway.
Let's let Mr. Dahl speak. It's probably, I'm probably guilty of that too.
I know who they are, because I'm not just calling. So, I'm
Oh,
gonna
Larry.
speak now as a resident of the city. I'm not, and I would defer to Mr. Taylor, because I think he spent many, many more years as a resident of the city and council member than these people. I've had conversations with you, before it was started. I've learned a lot from you, sir. And I appreciate the people who made the city, grew up in the city, and gave us what we have today. My fear is we are being headed in directions by people who don't live in the city. They have no connection to the city other than employment. I wanted to recognize you, sir, that on the election. You, sir. So anyway, we have a new city government, we have the chance right now to determine the direction of the city, and the direction of the city is not 142 feet square.
162.
Because, let me just share a couple of real numbers with you. Between 2021, 2022, the population of Canada, Texas grew from 8,342 to 8,590, 2.97% increase. Now, this is one that I paid attention to. The median household income grew from $102,000, 102,217 to 112,646. That's a 10.2% increase. And our median income in the city is still growing. What does it tell you? That tells you we can support this city without all this paving and putting new cement in and doing away with what made Kennedale Kennedale. I read every single word in this plan. Right in front, I have the comprehensive plan update dated March 2022. I put that plan to this plan, and frankly, I don't see a big difference. The words changed. There are more pages. It's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. My thought is, and I'm going to take a different view. Back here. My thought is we are Kennedalians, or whatever we are, and we can take care of the city. We don't need outsiders coming in here. They're welcome if they want to be part of this community. But most important thing is we remain the community. And what I say in this, sir, is if we go down this path, we have lost our community. I would say, now I'm gonna ask you a question if you don't mind. And I've been out talking to people in Redmond, in Canada, I've talked to people in Crowd, I've talked to people in Forsyth. I went out because we used to have all this retail you're talking about. Used to be in the city. There was department stores, there was retail, there was all these services that you were talking about. Well, about a year ago, we lost one bank. Cannondale had one bank. Today, it has no banks. Fargo there picked up and left. We had a bookstore, and it was just down on the Cannondale Parkway in the retail area. Got to know the book owner because I like buying books. I buy books for children. So I kept going in, and then one day she told me, she said, I'm going to close my shop. I can't do business. I can't do it. And so I asked her, why? She said, because it's the way they have organized the city. And I said, well, did the Chamber of Commerce see? She said, I haven't seen the Chamber of Commerce. It's not true.
Yep, not at all.
Not at all.
I went by there, I'll buy it myself.
Well, a meeting in
You'll
our
get
store.
your turn. So,
Well, just make a correction right now. I've got you on the timer, so.
okay, I'm probably pressing my 5 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna stop for 5 minutes. So, thank you, Mr. Taylor, thank you. Let's just strike that from the, I'm gonna defer to Mr. Taylor. And, so anyway, she's not there, no, her business is gone, sir. Whatever reason. Okay, so we had a pizza business here. Okay, I got to know that owner pretty well. People who want bars. It wasn't a bar, it was a takeout margarita.
Daiquiri.
But it was still alcoholic, for people who wants an alcoholic. So he's gone out of business. So there's a new pizza place that moved into that spot. And I went and talked to the owner. The owner there, that also has a pizza business in Arkansas. Yeah. So I asked him, how is your business going, as compared to your Arlington location? This is a success story because he said it's better. He said, I'm doing better here in Cannondale than I'm doing in Arlington. So the people who think that Arlington has all the answers and wants Cannondale to become another Arlington, I caution you, don't go down that path. Let's support the businesses here in Arlington that exist. We support them, and this community will grow, and we will give economic incentives to people who come in here. I'll tell you what economic incentives are. They don't want to pay taxes. That's what an economic incentive is. We can build the city, support it, bring it back to what it used to be, rather than become another Arlington, Mansfield, or anything else you want to be. And that is the conclusion, my feeling. And I understand my worldview is not listening here. But I think Jan asked me to be on this committee because I did have it. Yes. And I'd like you to consider that, especially people who grew up here, went to school here, and so on. Think about what Cannondale really means to you. And I came to the city since 2018 because I feel very much part of the city, and I want to see it remain what it can be, what it should be, and if we work together, what it will be. By the way, I go to that Subway for lunch. Great sandwiches. They're good or better than any other Subway anywhere. The service is fantastic. My question I have is, why won't Cannondale residents support Cannondale businesses? And I don't have an answer, but it's a fact. So if we focus on beginning to really support all those businesses will thrive. Then the pizza owner, he wants help the business here today, stay in business, make a profit, grow, then they're going to expand and we won't have to, we won't lose that profit. And that's the end.
Thank you for your service on this steering committee, and I would like to add for the record that I don't like paying taxes either. So,
If we increase the sales taxes, then.
It's your job.
I like that. I like that. David, sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Bolin, I've got, I'll take note of the reservations of the current plan in its current version. Here's the vision statement. Kennedale is a hometown with a vision to improve the quality of life of present and future generations. Mr. Bolin, that was your vision statement on our first meeting, and I congratulate you because I thought you did such a wonderful job, very passionate from the get-go. And so that was incorporated into the plan. A resident speaking out was incorporated in the plan. This plan, when it comes to the goals, it's not done away, just typing up the goals. It was what was voiced here at this stage, what was voiced at the community surveys, what was voiced from all the emails that we've received that we've shared with the community. And we've taken that, and Dunaway's done a great job in helping us put pen to paper. Right? I'm not a pontificator. My mom says I talk too much, so I'm sure you guys probably heard me talk plenty. But
Start to 5 minutes.
this plan, this plan is a direct reflection of what we've heard from y'all, right? And so that's why we're here to discuss it. So it's part of the plan that you don't like. And so if you got reservations about it, let's hear it. That's what we want before we take it. And it's not anyone's intention to kind of shove it down your throat, right? I don't want to turn it into an outsiders versus hometown folks, type of debate in here. But at one point, the city said, "Hey, we want to redo this plan. Who can help us do this?" Right? So they put out a proposal, an RFP, and people from outside the community said, "Hey, we're willing to help out." Right? Obviously, there's some incentive for that, but I kind of tell people, I tell my staff this: we don't have to be here. We can be here. So, and our job is to facilitate the plan that you all put in place. This plan is important. Right? So, if there's any other parts of the plan that we can move to that part, even if there's a part of the plan that you don't like, you're not going to hurt anyone's feelings, not going to hurt my feelings or Dunaway's. This is the whole purpose of the plan, is we need to revise something. So your comments a minute ago have been noted, and let's see how we can make improvements, because you live here too. You serve this community. You live here too. This is part of your plan. So what can we do in the plan right now versus, I don't think no one's saying we want to scrap the whole thing, but how can we make it to fit within the vision that you had, but also as the group as well? So with that, is there another part of the plan that we need some more revisions or clarifications on?
Let me add this. I want to go back to Councilman Navarro's point earlier, and also Councilman Michael's point. So the first one is this industrial up along 820 that's currently all industrial. Could we potentially compromise and have, like Mr. Taylor was noting along 820 there, a place for restaurant row, residential, or excuse me, not residential, general commercial, same portion of that. And then under the caveat that we revisit these, or, in
5 years.
several years.
Yeah.
Would that be acceptable to the committee? So that kind of compromise. And then to Councilman Navarro's point, I do see the entire southern part there. I'm probably not describing that right, but as residential low density, that we make a portion of that, as Councilman Navarro said, to the medium density, and then the caveat that we revisit, see where we are 2-3 years down the road. Would that, that just throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we're talking about is up to 10 years in the making. We do need to revisit this in 5 years, because within 5 years, we'll have a hotel, hopefully. We'll have hopefully 100 houses or 190 houses on the south side. And then we can kind of gauge from there where the infrastructure's need is, things like that. But within the next 5 years, we'll see even the highway being built.
Right,
And then let that council decide for what the next 5 years should be. But I'm trying to predict 10 years. And Arlington's doing that on their own. So we can do it ourselves and we can compete.
And obviously, you know, as Mr. Dolan said, we all, I think everybody here likes the sense of community. That's why we moved here 4 years ago. I think that's why you have generations of families that have stayed here. But I mean, you know, I do, you know, see both points and both sides of the equation. And, you know, I know that, you know, passions run pretty high on all sides, but I mean, if we could make those two compromises here with this plan and then just revisit every 5 years. I think the current plan we have was done in 2012, right? Think of what's changed in those past 12 years. And, you know, I was meeting with the city manager in Arlington today, and he mentioned that, you know, they need to do theirs as well. But I mean, you know, I think it would be a good practice to regularly revisit this at least every 5 years. And,
Probably if we revisited it a little more often, we wouldn't have to do a major rewrite.
sure.
I know what on the record, just to add to the mayor said, if we were, I would say talk to the owner and say, would you be willing, would you be opposed to say, if we done all of this to, you know, or need to, one, maybe they'll sell it tomorrow. Trying to find an industrial buyer, which is someone that developer will come in and build entire shops that are full of, you know, Home Depot on the back, or Lowe's, whatever, and everything. in the front.
Exactly.
And then that's whenever other developers that go around, you know, lowering property taxes will increase sales taxes. That's what a sales point to do. At least then we can pull money in Arlington instead of all our money going out of Arlington. Now it's all.
And just to be clear, we're not changing any zoning. We're just saying in the future, if you wanted to build a strip mall up there, you can, because this is what we want. We want a strip mall up here.
Right, and then we can get the restaurants, and then take other people's sales tax, and not us going to Arlington and spending our money there. I mean, it's gonna make, I think it would benefit the city if we look at that area and do it as a restaurant, and I don't know how to zone it. I mean, retail, restaurants, commercial, whatever, special zoning for that area. You know, and then that way, if we have a Home Depot or Lowe's that comes in, well, we know normally you get a Home Depot, you're gonna get restaurants around there because people like to go eat when they go buy stuff from Home Depot when they're working. So, I mean, it's just a win-win.
And that's not a bad idea either. And ideally, when you do the urban village like that when that was enacted, it's so that you can direct a certain view and look, but you can also direct some help from the city, like tax abatements or things like that. Historically, we've never done anything tax-wise until recently. The city's always been a stance that we're not gonna help you pay your taxes. But if we zone even that purple into a special kind of district for future, EDC or whomever can offer something like, hey, if you do develop a commercial or restaurant over here, we can help you out.
I mean, right, that's a day 2, day 3.
Day, year 10,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking for the future. I mean, 5 years, I probably won't even be around. I mean, I could drop dead now, but, I mean, I would love to see, you know, my grandkids that are growing up in Kennedale, my daughter that's growing up in Kennedale, benefit from something like that. I mean, that could drop the taxes to where we need to be at.
Exactly how we say it would be nice to have some
And to go to what Mr. Bowling was saying, like, and what I was saying right before him is, I don't think we want Restaurant Row town center. You know, we barely get traffic after 6, and I think everybody enjoys that. I even enjoy driving on the Hot Parkway, and there's nobody after 6. So everybody just driving down to the freeway where they're coming off the freeway anyways, and we still get the taxes, and we still get the small town peaceful feeling. Let the noise be over there. Let the noise be over in that corner. We can keep the center pure, and this is one of the ways we can accomplish that, because as a city, we're already looking in that corner, and places like Apache are looking to leave, like, and that's gonna be a great shopping center as well, especially if we put 1 or 2 hotels over there. So we're already looking to that corner for that kind of development. We're already making our moves. This is just one of those other things. We're just saying, hey, in the future, we no longer want industrial. We have industrial districts over here. we want some commercial. We want to get those taxes of people coming off the freeway and going to QT. Or home, I like the Home Depot idea. I hate driving to Mansfield just to go to Home Depot.
So for now, I guess would we be okay with updating a portion of that, that's currently industrial to general commercial?
I would do that whole purple arrow to something, yeah. I mean, honestly, cause that opens it up. I know Gilman Road runs through that, if I'm seeing it right.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
I'd be curious to hear the thoughts and experience on that.
Well, I like the idea, but I would include everything west to the railroad tracks too. I think the hotel already coming at us there. And so that the pink on the map, is that transit oriented? Is that what?
Transit oriented development.
That bunch it all, we'll be buying those properties and
Could be
buildings
both.
in there as often as we have the opportunity.
What that doesn't mean is just one large bus station, train stop. What that means is we'll have some transit, train stop, a portion of it, but then you have the accessory uses that come with that. So, you have retail,
Coffee shops.
restaurant around the
Right.
service road, and then some, that's the question. The big question is where appropriate, right? Even when it comes to density, that conversation that we've had here, where is it appropriate in town, right? And this may be an area where it is appropriate, right?
Another
So,
transit.
the transit-oriented development
Yeah.
encompasses all those types of things. It also
Yeah.
encompasses, we have businesses there,
This
that's gonna
Harvard, they
remain,
make
right? We've got a
things
guy
color,
that,
I can't
company
see it.
that does, gates.
Gates, red,
Fence company, they built a great gate
So
over
that's a
off
transit
of,
right there.
Danny's, and they're actually looking to build some more buildings on the back, so I don't think they're going anywhere.
Between them and QT is gonna be a hotel, right?
Yeah.
Correct,
So there's a catalyst right there.
Yeah, and we as a city are working on transportation over there, but I just had lunch with both the president of the IC board and Chad. They're both talking to the transit authority about doing bus stops here for students, so whether we do it or the trustees do it, we're working in this area to try to bring transit down here already.
Is that gonna be a continuous service road through there where the tracks are now? You can't go from Kenmore Parkway and take a left and stay on the service road all the way. Have to get on the highway.
Service road will continue
Service road
over,
will continue.
yeah, so it'll go over the tracks, over the rail tracks. So the service road will continue, but you won't be able to get off into Oak Crest there. You'll
Or
be
you
able
won't,
to, it'll go down to where it currently dumps out over there by.
So, yeah, Joe, it's basically gonna have a service road built, and then there's gonna be a clover leaf that's right from Mansfield, kinda like what it is now. But you'll have a left-hand turn lane where you can go underneath and go right there by the railroad tracks and pop out right there by the hotel. Or you can just go into Mansfield Highway and turn on Lincoln Street, get to the hotel.
So there'll be highway access.
Right, there'll be highway access through that whole area. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Take the industrial out of it and put the retail into it. And I think that'd be a win-win for us.
I'm gonna put us back on the council. We want to agree with council we evolve eventually. This is what we're thinking about. We all know what else is room in that area. Instead of saying, what kind of business we're gonna grow in there, without putting that first. So that's one of the first steps we're gonna do is make sure that area is safe and secure and, shall I say, deforested properly.
Good optics there. Good optics there.
To slightly answer that question, I know, Mayor Parker, Maddie Parker, yeah, that's her name, right? She has discretionary funds for redevelopment. That was one of the areas that she was considering, was the Fort Worth corner over there, which is, just large lots that are empty. So there's potential there for Fort Worth, especially if we start it, then potentially they could, and we could go ask them like, hey, we're starting this, you guys should join as well.
So this should be an innovation.
Yeah.
Where the four corners, Foresthill, Fort Worth, and Kennedale just say, we're gonna do this, we're doing it. This is one of the reasons those people are down there is because they're different.
Yeah.
Deforestation costs, clear that out, where it doesn't affect the erosion. But it does open the area up. That's gonna discourage a lot of that there, first of all. Second of all,
Go ahead, Daryl.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Yes, Daryl.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Okay,
You gotta say something well too.
that is one of the reasons why we're here today. So if we don't set a vision, you're not telling me anything to do. The council is not telling us what to do. That's the whole purpose of why we're here. The whole purpose is to set a vision. And that vision is going through the mayor and the council. That's the reason why they're here today, is to hear your feedback on the direction that we want to go. When we identified this area as industrial, personally, you're going to continue to do what you have today. We go up there and we say, hey, this is going to be a retail or a commercial or something, whatever. That gives me the direction. It gives our mayor, it gives our council the direction. This is where we're going. Then it's my job to go do that. That's why they empower me to do that. The reason why I have staff is that we move forward with that. That gives us what they're indicating in long-term plan. As everybody knows, it doesn't happen in 1 2 years. A hotel is a starting point. It becomes that. And as you see in the last couple of years, our crime rate has stopped. Our homeless encampments have been reduced dramatically. It's because of our actions of what we're doing in our involvement that we have. It does take small steps to get there. But without this plan that you're indicating you want to see the future to be, you're not empowering anybody to do anything. And that's part of the reasons why we're here. The plan that's current that we're going on is not adequate. It's not for us to be able to fulfill. It does. It takes time. But in the same sense, if we don't set this expectation of the standard, we'll never accomplish anything. When these short goals, just like you are coming back 1 2 3 years to revisit what this plan is. Because if it didn't happen, if we haven't moved forward with it, we need to redirect. We need to come in and have a starting point. But if we never have a starting point, we'll never complete anything. It's so important that we set this vision. We follow the vision. And it takes our council and it takes our mayor to make that happen. And you guys are being asked to come in and set that vision. And I'm confident that our mayor and our council will allow that to take place. As we move forward and you accept and the council accepts this plan, our budget will be here to accept that and to accomplish those goals. Without this, we're just working day to day for nothing. And I'm just talking out loud. Without a vision, you have no destination. And with no destination, you have no goal. So that's how important this is that we accomplish a simple task that outlines the future. And we can do that. It does. It takes all of our different mindsets, all different ages. There's generations here of so much information of what we want it to be, what we are today, what our past is, and how we move forward to accommodate, if we like it or not, society. Because it changes every day. We face it every day. But that's why we're here. And when we identify a commercial or industrial, the concept is this 4 hours not going to be there. What do we want it to see when it leaves? That's the bigger question. It's not what it is today. When they leave, what do we want it to leave? That we're forecasting. We're forecasting, hey, do we want where the QG is, the Burger King, the Popeyes? Do we want that industrial? Honestly, it doesn't match. The industrial part that's there does not match what we've already started 10 years ago. So what we started 10 years ago is there. It's not for the next 20 years. So we build them. That's the reason why we invited the hotel. That's going to feed those restaurants. We have another restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, that's coming with that hotel. All it is a domino. It's going to compete, which helps us clean up. But it takes time. Just like this hotel. Although it started in 2015, we just now got permits.
will say, one of these maps, there's so many of them, we have a linear park going right where that camp is. So that'd be a big cleanup if we ever get our parks put together like, we have in here.
Do we wanna talk about, the segue into the parks, part of the, comp plan, is there a
But y'all say you want to hear from steering committee. I think everybody's going to be in agreement with turning that into all that purple into, whatever one fits the best for restaurants and
Slash retail.
/retail.
Yeah, I mean,
Commercial
I
slash.
think definitely good.
What's your issue with the parks, Nathan? What's your issue with the parks?
No.
No, we should talk about it.
If we needed.
Yes, parks. Get her done, Nathan.
Quick clarification, doesn't the EDC own a lot of that land right there in that little area already?
yes, ma'am.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
thank you. I think that's helpful for us to know that piece.
Would anybody be opposed if we take a 5 minute?
I would. No.
Wait.
think it's smart.
Turn it on. Or did you?
No, at home, people at home can hear me. You can hear, everybody can hear me, I'm loud.
I'm just worried about the people
Half
online.
the
I
town,
can't hear me.
half the town hears me.
I'm shy.
Move that one down there.
Oh, I just
I guess
gave him
that
one.
works.
I think he needed to.
Well, they probably need
And
that
what
one this
about
one.
the housing density on the southern portion of the city? What does the steering committee recommend?
Well, I mean, I moved to Kendall because it's a 5-acre lot I live on. My neighbor lives on a 10-acre lot. Everybody around me has acres lots, so I'm not a big fan of what Jeff is saying about changing all that. 10, 15 years from now, when I'm dead and gone, maybe they will sell it off. But as you were saying, if maybe we did a portion of it, I think it'd be all right. I see what he's saying, but also we'd push some people out of the town too. So I think there's always that balance there.
But part of it, it's already infrastructure ready, we can make that, so it would cost us as a developer a lot of money. You're talking about the new facility that we're working on.
By the
Water
racetrack,
drag
no
strip.
drag strip.
But again, this is very high level, this is, 20 years down the road, right? So the future land use plan's not gonna push anybody out as a consequence of adopting, a future land use plan or anything. It's just whether or not, what we'd like to see there was. We, if we have, so, and we'll give out the homework assignments to council, but, some have already completed their assignments as far as sending me a Word document or something that says, hey, on page such and such, if we do this, typo on this one. Excellent eye for those types of things, right? But,
The reason I haven't sent you anything, so
but if you've got something already prepped, and, I wanna see it, like, send it in, they wanna see it, they need to see it, because we wanna take that feedback back, so moving from here, if you have a specific policy, question as far as the plan goes, that would be a good, now would be a good time to discuss that, before we're going any further. But other items on page this or page that, if you can write that down, send that to us, and I'll be sure to, get that over to Dunaway. Steve, did I miss anything? No, sir. So we probably wanna go another 20 minutes, I know some of us are, not me, of course, but, are Mavs fans, and I think tip-off is about to start.
And just to clarify, I'm only asking for the city limits, so the TERS area. So the ETJ, we can leave it as that, as the way it is, yeah.
How do you tell the difference here? I don't see Kennedale
Is there anybody get a diagram where you can
It's
point
the
out
blue.
blue.
Hold on just a second.
Should be a line.
What's Kennedale ETJ?
Hold on.
Here, I'll show you.
ETJ
Up here.
Everything outlined in blue, that's
Yeah,
ETJ.
outlined in blue. There you
So,
go.
so this future land use plan is taking into account ETJ area that is a part of the city limits, but that will be annexed into the city.
And that's not our choice.
Cities, so annexation is voluntary. So, years ago, cities used to be real aggressive in annexing property. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Stephen, it's on a voluntary basis.
Right.
And it has to be contingent, so it has to already touch our city limit line. So if we get a piece of property that is, out in the ETJ, but it doesn't already touch our city limit line, even if they wanted to annex, we would not to annex them unless they had some sort of development agreement that touched our city limit. So annexation these days is completely voluntary for most part.
But this ETJ wouldn't have a structure agreement that would ask to be annexed.
Well, it's still in the county, but they still
You'd ask the landowners.
When it becomes,
have to follow what our zonings are when it comes to building stuff.
as an ETJ, there's zoning doesn't apply in ETJ today.
Right.
Unless the state change some rules in the future, but right now we have, the only authority we have out there is to abate nuisances, and they have to, if they go to subdivide land, they have to come to the city of Kennedale for that particular process. But building permits, zoning, none of that applies in the ETJ. This future land use plan that you see here, however, is taking into account total build out of the city of the future as Kennedale once we can no longer expand. So that's the purpose of a future land use plan, is to show, hey, when Kennedale is as far as it can go, what do you want to see in that particular area?
So according to this map, there's really only one ETJ area.
There's three, they're outlined in blue. You'll see the
There's actually
dump
better
pool
Oh,
over
right.
off.
Yeah, it's a couple areas.
There's
I see
four.
the orange now.
Yeah, then we got a triangle there on the bottom right corner, that's where Hop Steel is.
Walmart area.
And that line basically, if it goes from East Road to Hudson Cemetery Road, in your mind's eye, just draw a triangle there. And that part, is, part of the ETJ as well.
So I have a question relative to this density question. Low density, medium density. A developer can't do anything until it goes through P and Z and city council, can they?
If they're needing to do something that requires a zoning change, you are correct. If they're building, if they wanna build that's already permitted by right within that zoning district, then the only thing they need to do is get a building permit. For the most part, depending on the development, there's site plan approval that has to go through P and Z and council. But that's usually on a certain square footage, so like if we were to get a large development come through, they have to have a site plan. We do have planned developments that are in place, and they have to have an adopted site plan, before they move forward. So there are instances where they do have to come to P and Z council, but if they're zoned accordingly, they wanna, if it's zoned R2, right, and they wanna build single family, they can just get a permit, as long as it meets the zone.
What is medium density? How's that?
It's planned, Stephen, if you can touch on that, but if I'm not mistaken.
Sure. Medium density is, supports a variety of housing types. It's looking at the R2 and R3 zoning districts. We kind of look at that as in the plan that we kind of look at up to 9 units to the acre, but most of it is going to be just slightly greater than 4 units to the acre. That's where you get the 65 to 7,500 square foot lots. Anything greater than that lot size is going to be that low density. Because when you start getting around 10,000 square foot lots or greater, then you're dropping below that almost to, 10,000 square foot is just slightly less than 1/4 of an acre. Because an acre is 43,560 square feet. So you get, 10,000 square foot lot, that's your 4 units to the acre, just slightly greater than.
So just coming back to the mayor's question around, are we in alignment on what Councilman Navarez was suggesting with increasing the distance? So Councilman Navarez, it looks like that area is already planned for medium density around the track strip, correct? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but it's not. It's yellow, which is
Yellow's medium.
low
But
density.
you were talking about, was that the
No,
area, or were you talking
when-
further south?
Well, the
So
racetrack is,
if
it's
you want to
medium.
look up here on this one, I mean, everything north of this line right here, around this red area, this area of Tyndale, that corner, is our open active right now. Now, we don't need low density, because if I was a low density builder, I would be building up here.
Yeah.
Here anyway, because we don't call it low. But if they don't do that, we need to have higher density here. Well, I mean, besides the racetrack, we had potentially a development there one time that was gonna be large lots, 10 years ago or so. It's just not what's being built right now.
Yeah, but to your point, I was gonna build $1 million house every Saturday there. So that's a story, but I think that's probably okay. Now, I'll pivot to a different question. We talked about pulling dollars from the north into a potential corridor off the point. Do we want to look at something on the southern tail end of the town, say, how do we get money from Mansfield residents coming into town and then leaving? Want anything smaller, sound that way?
That's where that red dot comes in the TERS area. That's one of the changes we did from the last meeting we had, or from the meeting before, is to secure an area that potentially has commercial. That way, if Mansfield does develop that area out there, which they eventually will, maybe not my lifetime, but eventually, exactly. Yeah.
But he's talking about the ETJ. That's
Oh,
our
you're talking about
ETJ.
ETJ.
Something, because then you get traffic this way, and then you're out. And now you have
the only problems I see with that is one, it's an ETJ. You know, it's not fully in our control. But two, if you go down that area, it is being developed. There's a liquor store down there. There's Kennedale Trading Post down there. Potentially commercial is already happening there, but it's mostly the cars area. So the leftover car area from back in 30 years ago.
But yeah, we're talking 15 years, if you want a place there on that side of town. It'll be as big
Oh, I
as
would love to
Seattle.
take all of that ETJ north and down there right away.
I think it's a great spot for like a Russell Feed, right? Where you got everybody's rural on that part of town. They make much of that.
Didn't we just got a
They,
new
they,
feed
they do have larger needs as far as
We just
square
got a new
footage.
feed store.
But you know,
That's a retail. That's, there's things that get built up around that area.
and we see a lot of retail come and go, as Larry was saying. Some of these industrials are needed because we do get money off of them. So I don't think we want to push them all out, right? I mean, if they're a good established business.
To kind of give you a point to that and for you as well, that ETJ triangle currently is salvage yards. So to your point, salvage yards are a dying breed.
They're truck parking right now. It's all truck parking, right?
But, I mean, but they have salvage yards,
Once again, we're looking.
but they also have trading posts and
Give you an idea.
other
even
businesses.
there at Eden Road and Freeland
So
Parkway,
since it's county, it's a mix. They don't have any zoning, so it's
so the area is already growing.
industrial,
That
all in the
concept
same
of
crowd.
what do you want to see there? Salvage yards are not always gonna be there. There's already, there's a lot of change has already been there. We had two of them that's already gone. So, once again, we're not looking at today. What do we want it to see? And to the council member's point, is it commercial? Is it retail? What do we want? Do you start moving one into Mansfield, what do you see? Residential is already within 2 miles of us, Mansfield. Doing nothing but coming to us. To his point, you want that. That is at the tip of our city. We can have that, we build it, they come to us. We wait, and Mansfield's wanna build it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. It's coming. They're already planned 20 years out. They're already 20 years ahead of us. And that's, again, that's why we're doing this today, is to set that precedence of what we want. Cause it's coming. If we like it or not, if we like society of what it is, at some point, as what Nathan is saying, some of it, we don't have a choice. What we do today. Today we do.
So would the steering committee potentially recommend making that general commercial?
Everything on the parkway, commercial, people driving through, stopping, spend some money.
I mean, we got
Leave some money in Kennedale.
Mansfield Cardinal people's houses now that residential, but they're actually zoned for future commercial.
So, Mr. Taylor, you're suggesting taking out the industrial all along the southern and making that, or not taking it out, but.
As that
turns
develops,
over.
I mean, junkyard's not gonna go away until somebody comes along with a checkbook, and says, I want it back worse than you. You know, I want my property more than you wanna keep it. But we're not gonna, I don't think we're gonna force them out to drive them out. But as that evolves, then anything on the parkway to me is an opportunity to catch some of those dollars that are going through town.
And we can have both. Why not? Why not have both? We can have commercial. You need restaurants to support industrial workers to go have lunch at, for example.
And we went red all the way down to what, Eden Road. You remember, that's what we did prior. That's how it got there. It was all industrial.
And on Eden Road, like, for example, right at Eden Road on the Parkway, we do have some acreage there that's for sale. Folks have been, talking with folks about what they kind of want to see there, but goes to your point, a lot of the questions we get over there is, hey, guys, park some trucks there, you know? But, you know, if you go from Little School Road to Eden, right, that's an industrial corridor, we got a lot of open spaces where there's storage of equipment, storage of materials, heavier uses, automotive uses, and that's probably appropriate there. If you go further south, you go into the county, it's like, no man, it's like, anything goes out there. But by having that triangle, that ETJ, and having it commercial, what we're talking about is potentially siphoning city, right? Because if you go down Mansfield, once you get past the junkyards and the salvages off Mansfield Highway, they're building residential all over there, right? So they're coming into their downtown Mansfield, but if something at that gateway draws them this way, that they're not cutting through town, they're just coming into that particular area. But I don't see much of that in that particular area. They're trying to change it for a while, but it's whether or not you want to see something there.
When you look at our ETJ too, everything below that triangle, all the way to New Hope Road is Mansfield's ETJ. So eventually, they will be at our city limits.
Mayor, this isn't zoning, so can we not look at the corridor as a retail, commercial opportunity wherever we choose and list the plan more in that space? Because if we're really gonna revisit it every 3 to 5 years, like plans you can revisit it, you ought to be able to make choices, right? So why do we have to tie our hands? I guess my question is, that was rude. Do we have to tie our hands at this point, except for those things that we know we want to be industrial because they fit? Everything else might be an option.
That's a good point,
Is that
Kelly.
crazy?
We can't commit a future council or.
No, this is a vision, and it's not our zoning, so it's taking that.
Yeah.
For you.
I think of the developers too,
Still
for
gives us
commercial.
a guide.
You have like the highway, the county's little depot right there. Anything around that should be light industrial, because that's not gonna go anywhere. And Speed Factory's not gonna go anywhere anytime soon either. But we do need commercial around there, because again, there's workers there. They need to go eat lunch, a quick shop on the way home, whatever. And like Daryl's saying, Mansfield's coming quick.
Well, and
They're
that gives
coming real
Darryl
quick.
some.
Well, you got towers
To
with
offer.
industrial, Tower Drive that's there. So, I mean, it's the same way. We can do a blend of it. And, like, I think Jazz Auto's another company that's, he's got 2 buildings and he doesn't plan on going anywhere. So,
In my vision, what's right on the park, immediately on the park.
right.
There.
Is
Well, like-
the commercial.
Would
The layer behind was.
how would a auto repair be? Would that be commercial,
I thought it was under our light industrial.
light industrial?
As a commercial one. Because ultimately, that's a lot where it will go. And the industrial side will feed that and the residential side. You don't necessarily have to, just a blanket. But also look at it as, in that area, as someone wants to come in and build, they're looking at the map that you're creating. So what is the easiest for that developer to do? So I'm just painting a picture for you. We go in and we say, all right, this is industrial, but they're looking for commercial. The next thing they're gonna look at is what's the next step. If Mansfield has the commercial, they're not gonna build those. It's real easy to go mile south.
That's what I'm saying. Why do we have to limit ourselves and not name it something different that gives us flexibility, so when you're speaking to someone, you have options.
That's a great idea.
So annex the ETJ is what I'm hearing.
What?
That is not what you heard.
Yes.
So you're saying, Mr. City Manager, from Little School Road to Eden Road, make that a commercial or?
Or leave it like an industrial what it is now.
Could be a,
Even to their point, Speed Factory, they have no, there's no reason for it, that's industrial. Same thing from some of the automotive there, you got precinct 2 maintenance building, it's not.
it's not gonna happen.
But
Big
Red,
print place.
Red's Roadhouse is right there too, and they're not industrial.
No, they changed it.
This is what we did last time.
We do have some salvage yards that have left, but also those salvage yards can be, we can turn them into 20, 30, 40,000 square foot warehouses. Because they have acreage to create that. That's where your EDC comes in and plays a role. But to your point, that's still a good area to be industrial. That's the reason why I identified the Eden Road intersection
That's where
Could
Hawks
we
Steel-
do something like have a setback off the parkway to where that's commercial? And then behind that, that would be the,
Overlay
Industrial.
district. Yeah,
Right.
we currently have something similar. It's the commercial corridor overlay. It's like the first 100 feet,
right.
down the.
But I mean,
parkway.
yeah,
Right
so
now,
that
it's-
way, if restaurants want to come in, but then they want to put warehouses behind it, we can have a road that gets behind it, so it basically hides the warehouses, but we have the restaurants.
We could have probably, considered expanding that article, article 8, but, right now it's only specific to parking, siting a building, and landscaping, but it doesn't get into any specific uses, on what's allowed within the corridor itself. The base zoning applies right now, so, but that'd be a conversation when we go to, we're actually working on the UDC amendments and land use tables and things like that.
Okay.
So I'll make a note of that.
Okay.
Within that overlay, so our future land use plan that we have right now, the current plan, Mr. Bowman, you got that there, you'll see these large circles, right? These nodes, and then within those nodes, it calls for.
Right.
So I think what I'm hearing as well is that within that Eden Mansfield intersection, having a node there, and potentially expanding that into the triangle of the ETJs there. That is where Hawk Steel is. There's a lot of buildings that were recently built there. No permit needed from the city because it's an ETJ. So there's certain uses there
But
that exist.
a lot of that stuff in ETJ, our fire department still has control over. So they can do the fire lanes and what goes in there and stuff. So they have control, even though your department might not, but the fire department has control.
In the ETJ, it's Tarrant County Fire Marshal
Right.
office that do that, so they do have to meet some minimum fire.
But that is our adopted, our contracted spot, so we should have some type of authority what goes in there.
For me, again, one of the incidental consequences I see about high retail to commercial to point industrial, warehousing in the back, whatever. I think the committee, somebody kick me if we didn't like the idea of continuing with this idea of retail car lots, they just put the salvage yard in the backyard. They put up a fence and stick the salvage in the backyard. It's really a salvage yard. Call it what it is, right? So we don't want more of that. We don't want more of the same thing, because the same thing brings one kind of consumer, right? You don't get lots of consumers.
I think we fixed the definition of what that falls under in the UDC a while ago. And that's why they had to come get special exceptions with the BOA, and that's why the city stopped doing special exceptions for those types of, places.
So they're not cleaned up. So
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet, but
This was the year that they were gonna close, and they sold.
So one of the things in the EDC update that we're looking at is, especially on smaller businesses, we were talking over here about auto-related uses and kinds of things, is the way you start cleaning those up. Currently, you have tire shops and whatnot that put their tires out front, and, they might have 3 or 4 vehicles that are still being worked on out front. A lot of cities are going to where they actually codify conditions into their ordinance, say if you're running this kind of business, then you need to go ahead and you're not advertising. We know you're selling tires. There's no reason that you need to go and stack 4 tires with one on end, at your front of your business. We know you're selling tires. So there's, that kind of thing helps clean up that corridor for those particular uses. Again, I'll refer back to Euless because we did this. We had people dropping transmissions right in front of the business. You got the fluids all over the place and stuff. And so, through that attrition, it's able to start cleaning up those businesses and fencing off where they have to keep their vehicles and stuff. And then it cleans up the businesses and allows them to have more landscaping and reinstall sidewalks, that kind of stuff. Is there any, I think we've captured what you guys want. I've made notations on our presentation that I've already saved, and so we'll take that back, and our GIS person will make those modifications. We will make those modifications. It will change the tables in the future land use section as to that percentages of area. So we're going to increase the amount of area for medium density. We're going to decrease the amount of area of low density. We're going to increase the amount of area for general commercial, and we're going to decrease the amount of area for industrial. And those are going to be reflected into this future land use map. Are there any other areas through the document that we've gone through? We had goals, objectives, and strategies that we talked about as a steering committee. Are there any of these policies or strategies that we did not capture correctly? Is there something that, in the utility section or in our parks and recreation section that we did not capture correctly that we need to make sure we modify?
Mr. Mayor, here's what I see is missing. There's nothing in this plan about attracting visitors and having a visitors branding, bringing people in to visit Cannondale, spend money and leave, not this commercial stuff. We had discussed the commercial, industrial side of this ad nauseam. So many communities, and I've looked at them outside of this area, outside of Tarrant County. But let's take one, Grapevine. Tremendous program, to brand Grapevine as a place you want to come and visit. They have things going on all the time. Very successful, commercially successful, brings in a lot of money. The people then enjoy themselves. They said, wow, this was a great time here in Grapevine. I'm going to come to Grapevine back again. There's nothing in Grapevine that can't be done. Well, if we had the vision and we also have the people who want to make it happen, I would suggest that there be a section in this plan to address being able to increase the visitors who's coming to Grapevine. Excuse me, I had a super moment. Excuse me. But you know what I mean? We can do that. And Mr. Griffith over there, I think you were a driving force behind the farmers market. I don't know who, but I saw you over there doing all that. That was a great event. It was very successful. We supported all businesses. We brought money in. We got sales tax and everything. But it was the start. And we need those kind of seeds planted. All of these grandiose plans, works with Home Depot. I will tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, last thing we need is another Home Depot. There's one in Nashville, there's one in Cleveland. I don't need one here. But let me finish and I'll let you continue. All right, so I think I've made my point. And I was so happy to see that farmer's market. I can't wait till the next one. And the next one I'll go next Saturday. And I'm using that. I'm only using that because we can do more of those things. As we do that, we will get Cannondale out and known to the community. And there's some other communities in this area doing those type of things. I'm only using that as an example of what we can do. We need to be looking at the present. I think I agree with you, sir. You've got to have a plan for the future. But you're planning for the future and you're the present, you're setting yourself up for failure. Seriously.
And I think we've accurately reflected some ideas along that regard in our economic development section.
Page
where we
94
talk
as well.
about, branding, and we talk about community as a social center for recreation through marketing of events. I think those are some of our major goals and objectives and strategies in that regard, to trying to utilize facilities that are already in the city and have kinds of festivals and events that will bring more visitors to the community.
It's definitely in here.
The budget was presented and I almost fell asleep sitting over there listening to all that stuff. But one thing caught my attention, there was only $100 that was budgeted for the Chamber of Commerce or Business Bureau for visitors activities. You can't print any of these for $100. So we may have plans, but we're really putting the resources behind it to make them happen.
That's always a thing.
To your point, Mr. Boland, like the existing plan that we have right now, you're absolutely right. That part is missing. The draft that the committee's been working on and that you have here objective 2 on page 41, increase the number of commercial and retail uses to provide more shopping opportunities for residents, visitors, employees. And there's an entire section on the entertainment district, and that's exactly there. The purpose of that is to draw in the visitors into town, the outside, draw them into town, and then have them spend their money here, and then they go back to their respective communities. So that is actually reflected in specifically in the entertainment district, but it's actually an objective of this current plan. So we welcome any more additional feedback on the objectives to goals that are specific to the plan. So I believe we have captured how do we attract visitors into town, but if there's something in there that we need to rephrase, reword, or relook at, please send me something written on it, and so we can look at, we can provide you a response, and we can certainly look at that as well. Thank you for sharing.
And, you know, the way to do that is to make an environment conducive for development and business. So having a future land use plan exactly does that. It tells future developers, this is what we like to see, and as a government, we'll stay out of business. So you have to understand that when a business starts, 70% of them fail within 3 years, and the other 30 make it to 10. And so I always tell my clients, because I have a business that helps people grow their business, I can guarantee traffic to your website, but I can't guarantee sales because I don't know if you're a crappy business owner. I don't know if you have a crappy product. I don't know where your price point is. I don't know if you have bad employees. That's not dependent on what I do. And that's what happens to business. It doesn't matter if a pizza place closed. His business plan didn't work out. It has nothing to do with the people around it. It has nothing to do with the city. That's just his business plan didn't work out. That's just small business in general. That's why it makes 80% of our market continuing.
But I want to give a shout out to our manager over there. We do a lot of activities every other month. Almost every month.
now. Yeah.
We have something going on, so, and that is drawing people into our town, and that's the little town feel that we want. So I think he's doing a great job on that, and I think and that is growing every year. Every one of them events are getting larger.
And Nathan, tell us a little bit about your analytics you got from the phones. You were talking about it earlier. What did it show when we had an event here? What happened?
We can actually look at specific dates, and we can see the spikes on hometown Christmas. We can see the spikes on the World of Outlaws, and then the weekend before when the car show occurred, or actually the weekend of the car show, you can see what came in town center. We can draw geofences around different parts of town. And it's unlimited. We can go a certain part of town, a certain neighborhood, a certain section of town, the entire city. We can look at that as well. But town center. One of the first things we do is we look at town center within a year. We can go all the way back to 2017. There's a specific date in 2017 that we can go to. But within that year that we looked at, town center received 300,000 visitors, right? Into town center. That's like 5,000 a year, 5,000. But within the year, that's 300,000 visitors. And then you can actually extrapolate where those visitors came from because it's taking the data. We've had folks come from Iowa, we've had folks come from Nebraska, the Bay Area, all these different places, right? That are personally, probably no Christmas or something. But we can get that information there for sure.
What about the market, the dates of the market? Have you looked at that?
Not yet. Not yet.
Your
We've only had
analytics is
samples
down by
reported
Google
so far
and Apple, and
right now,
so-
but
and Facebook.
hopefully soon we'll be able to get more data.
You know, I think that's one of the three things I heard in the previous meeting that rose to the top was the three priorities were the market, the YMCA, which is coming, and street improvements. And to me, the market, right now, we got 4 hours a month, seriously? How about 40 hours a week?
Just started.
You know, that's where I think we need to go with that.
40 hours a week.
That's future.
Never despise small beginnings, right?
Right?
And so, but
4 hours a week looks good, why don't we grow that?
All in time.
I was gonna say, I think we need more than 1 month to grow it.
Looks like we need to share it.
Welcome to government.
Really.
Again, I do see that several of you have read through the plan all the way through, and I greatly appreciate that. I see that we've got notes on sections. Please do give us those notes and send them through Nathan, and we will address them into this next version, and we will take them to the Planning and Zoning Commission. That is the next direction that we have. We're reaching the end of our budget. We're trying to be conservative with our money so that we we don't overspend what was given us as a contract to, for the city. And so, in that regard, we're trying to make sure that we, do this efficiently and, putting it, the final document together. Once we take it to P and Z, that's still not, it's still a draft. And, if P and Z sees things that they want to change, then we will make those changes. And then we take it to council, and council looks at it, and they say, well, we still need these further changes. We will make further changes to that. Once the council approves this plan, then we will print formal copies for the city council. There will be a formal, version in, a downloadable PDF form that, be able to download from the website. And you put it right out there in front for developers to look at, so that this is who Kennedale is. This is where we want to see development occur. And so it doesn't become something that you just put on the shelf and don't look at again. And I think, Ms. Boland, that was something that you're concerned about. It's that if we make a plan, we don't want to just put it away. And so that's the intent, that we make it accessible, we make it transparent. And that's why we've had these many meetings.
You're absolutely right, sir, except for one thing. I totally agree with Thelma here. This is a living document, and your reference to put it on the shelf, and then maybe, I understand your comment, and then not look at it for another 5, 10 years or whatever since 2012, which was the last one. That isn't going to work.
You misunderstood me, sir. I don't want this document to be put on the shelf.
I understand your point.
Okay.
So,
Staff looks, we look at it every day.
well, what I'm saying is that it's a living document and would be reviewed. It's a path. It's to provide guidance. Nothing in this is going to happen until the elected officials and the city employees put it all together and make it happen.
Absolutely. I agree with you
And I
fully.
think we're all together on that. That's our vision.
Yes, sir.
Nathan, thank you for,
David, can I get
I
some?
live by that vision statement.
He has kids.
I have kids. Half of them don't like cookies.
I did say, hey, I can't eat all these cookies. Like, take these. But I think we have to adjourn. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is correct.
The city council has to adjourn.
Okay.
We have to? You're kicking us out?
Well, you don't have to write this.
Are we over?
I mean, I'll take it, but I have keys.
Residents have our staff to work, it looks like from this point on.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Hold on,
That was a question.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought
That's
you
a
were
question.
playing.
Is this the last meeting for?
That's my
this year?
understanding,
Thank
but,
you. That's a good answer.
Your work isn't done though, because I still
Ah.
need your.
Oh, I see.
I need you to.
But this is the last meeting for the steering committee.
That we'll meet.
Thank you.
Yes. And we'll have a.
You're absolutely welcome to come to PNC and city council meetings, please. That's important that you represent the work that has been done.
Well, you probably take the vote.
Yeah.
The whole entire committee.
all right, I'll entertain a motion,
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
I will second it.
and I believe we do not have to take a vote, so the meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Told me to take a